Oh shit, Gojo's talking to Ghetto. You know what this means. What's going on YouTube? Tiberius here, back again, but today was something different. I'm actually talking about Jujutsu Kaisen's recent chapter that officially dropped today, which is 236. Now, I do talk about JJK current events, but more in kind of a specific topic type of video where it's fun or something I kind of meme. But this chapter brought something a little different, something a little bit more heavy. So I just kind of want to give a non-scripted, I have a few points I want to touch on and, get word from y'all to see how y'all feel about it or if you agree or disagree. And of course, if you do want to see any more of my content, make sure you drop a like on this video, subscribe, all that YouTuber stuff. I'm not sure if you're familiar with how I aligned in this fight or who I was kind of pushing for. I've been rooting for Sukuna even before Gojo got unsealed. I've kind of in a sadistic way want Sukuna to win in the end, to win out, and we get JJK Chapter? No, okay, maybe not. Now, before I continue going further into the chapter, we now know it's actually... Yes, finally. These are just my thoughts on the chapter and honestly just JJK as a whole up to this point, I guess. As the based smooth brain that I am. This chapter was straight like premium gas, 10 out of 10. One of my favorite chapters of the series and really swung an entire fandom every which way. Everyone started off, riding Sukuna, eating the amped purple in the beginning. Then with the shrine in the very beginning covering Gojo in cuts and blood. But Gojo, strong arming his way through it and then hitting the red. It was, back and forth. But now that we go back and look at a lot of the panels in this fight, like when Sukuna tells Gojo, for instance, that, he's not trying as hard as him. In that moment, it just sounded like Sukuna was talking shit. But in reality, they both knew Sukuna wasn't giving it his all. And people disagree with that. Or it's not that they disagree, but they think it's disingenuous to Gojo or just the fight in general. But when Gojo himself is talking to Geto saying this dude is, crazy strong, even without Megumi's 10 Shadows, I don't think I could have beat him. In that moment, I took it as that's Gojo's admitting right there the difference between the two is Sukuna's understanding of Jujutsu as a whole and curse techniques, curse energy. Sukuna didn't need Mahoraga to beat Gojo, but what he used was Mahoraga as a model to show him how to get through the infinity. The first adaptation, Mahoraga adapted to it by changing his own, the essence of his own curse energy to get through the limitless. Sukuna isn't able to do that, so Mahoraga starts to adapt further. And the second adaptation of it was what Sukuna needed to see how to get through limitless, and that is just to cut the space as a whole. So in my opinion, knowing that now and looking back at 235, I believe Gojo died right in the very last panel. I think the slash hit him right there. The fandom kind of chose to believe Kusakabe saying Gojo won. Can't really blame Kusakabe though, because as spectators ourselves and them watching the fight unfold, we all thought the same thing. Gojo won the battle of the strongest. So what was going to happen next, like most, had theories, like you saw in comment sections, YouTubers, Twitter. Yorozu's gift was going to come out, four-armed Sukuna, and flame arrows. All these things were going to come out and as theories, but like Gege does a lot of times, he kind of overcomes these hurdles in the story with logic. And not necessarily like the infinity cutting through the space and all that logic, but in the sense of he beat Gojo how he beat everybody. Cleave, and remember, cleave is something that scales, so it makes sense. And Sukuna telling Mahoraga earlier in the fight, which was I think 2 chapters prior, this isn't what I want to see. hurry it up, and then that's when Gojo loses his arm. He essentially used Mahoraga like his own six eyes to find a way to come up, to topple the Limitless. So the slash hit him there, and as people who you can kind of see on Twitter, they're complaining about, oh, it was off panel, we didn't see the slash. But really, chapter 236 takes place right after 235. It's that's the next sequence. The slash hit. We see his, the face. It's over at that point. So then it starts with him in the afterlife talking to Geto. Off the topic, but I'm gonna just be real when I say this, and this isn't a shot at anyone specifically or anything like that. It's just I really feel this way, that if you were of the opinion that the chapter was a fumble or a trash because Gojo technically got off paneled, even if Gege did illustrate the panel of him actually getting hit with the slash, you're instead of thinking the chapter is trash because it was off panel, your next opinion in my eyes in that scenario is going to be Gege fumbled. How did Sukuna beat Gojo with a regular slash attack that he beats everyone with? Like I said, no shots or anything, but I do think those two opinions are probably one and the same. It's just one outcome came this way, and I personally think this is better. Leaves I don't know how Gege could have illustrated and drew that slash different from any other slash, because technically he just changed the target of his curse technique. Instead of it targeting Gojo, target the space. So I don't know what else you could have wanted from him. The next sequence that takes place from 235 is him being in the afterlife, and I think his departure in the series was beautiful. Honestly, I can say that he was in the bottom of my top 10 favorite characters in JJK, but shot up a couple spots just from this chapter alone. It's also due in part to his performance through the whole thing. He has looked amazing. It's just now we know that Sukuna is the strongest ever. Gojo has the best curse technique, but Sukuna is the better sorcerer. Honestly, not just Gojo, but everyone involved in this chapter, I think got kind of a bump up in my book. Nanami, even Haibara, Geto, and their dynamic alone, I think kind of just increased how much I cared about the cast. And even people, we see Toji in the background with Riko and the maid. It's interesting to me that Gojo tells Geto that he left it up to Shoko to tell Megami about his father. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. Technically, if Megami does truly die for good, before getting with Shoko, maybe there's a chance that Gojo can have that conversation with him then. But that isn't a theory that I even believe. I do think it's plausible and could happen. But I think the Six Eyes user isn't able to stay with the rest of them. I think that Gojo's kind of waving farewell, it seems like. To me, it kind of feels like he is destined, because he's a Six Eyes user, to get reincarnated for, use his, essence, his curse energy or whatever, to reincarnate into the next iteration of the Six Eyes user. Nothing is completely confirmed. There's still a lot of, and I don't know if something like that even will. I guess we'll have to see. This is something that just kind of hit me. I was just thinking, Volume 26 will end with 235, or should be. So that would mean that if people who only read the physicals would think Gojo won in the end, everything is good, they have a couple months and then they open up the next volume to see Gojo in the afterlife talking to Geto. This truly is Gege's Jujutsu Kaisen. Thanks for staying for the whole video. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below what you thought of this chapter. Any conflicting theories on against something I said or thoughts. Always welcome to, a nice little conversation, as long as we're civil about it. And until next time, stay normie, stay weeb, shit even in between is fine. No, let's redo that again. It's been a long day. Until next time, stay normie, stay weeb, shit even in between is fine. Till next time, peace. Wait, before I go, Kashimo, the Thunder God appears. That's going to be a 2-chap slap. That dude's going to pull in. They're going to talk shit for a minute, get it in. Sukuna will, get rid of him. 238. He ain't making it out of 238. Maybe Rame might even pull up and fight Kashimo. Like, I believe when lightning interacts with ice, it causes it to scatter. So that could dissipate his curse energy, maybe. So who knows? Maybe Rame might be a good opponent for Kashimo in the sense of, element-wise. But we'll have to see. We never know with Gege. All right, y'all. You have a good day. Peace.